If you practice, will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
I think there was a lot of 50-50 rebounds. We tried to come up with a lot of them, but I think they came up with more, and that was kind of the deciding factor tonight.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. And I'm ticked off for a lot of reasons. I mean, a lot of reasons. Last night might be one of the worst trivia questions in the history of Kentucky basketball. Hopefully, it is the only time ever where there are more whys, the cheers, right? As obviously you heard the first one was Stein, and the crowd was great last night. There were more whys than threes made. Jimmy, if you would have told me that could ever happen at the University of Kentucky, I would say take a drug test. It's not possible. I am going to lay out what happened with this team and where they are now. We will also get some help from Travis Ford, who is great. Jim Masters, always wonderful. And Jim Masters always has a good take. And Christian Alt, football, but he's going to have a basketball take. And we have a lot of sound to play. And one reason why I'm ticked is I had promoted, just because you promote what's on your station, that we were going to have the Will Stein press conference live at 4 o'clock. And a mass text went out from UK saying that you can't do it. And it's a press conference. And I don't understand it. You know, I was listening to Feinbaum the other day, and he had a chunk, not all, a chunk of Summerall's press conference, which was very good. And I didn't hear it from Feinbaum, but he had mentioned that they were having Kiffin's press conference live, and they were doing that. And so what I'm curious is, and I might text Paul in the commercial break, is I wonder if they want to take this press conference with Stein live, and will they be told no? I'm just baffled that if the president speaks, you can take a press conference, but we can't take Stein's. So I'm not happy. You know, and I guess if we took it, what's the worst thing that could happen? They could take my credentials away. And they could take credentials away from the station, and I get that. And by the way, that hasn't been threatened, not at this point, and I don't see why it would if we don't play it. So people above me are getting involved in this. I'm just not happy about this. I'm just thinking this is a press conference. This wasn't my idea. Sean was immediately on this without me saying anything. We take Pope's press conferences live, and Stoops, we did live when they were at 12 o'clock. And I guess I have something in the back of my head thinking, is it possible that they will say we can't take other press conferences live? It's a press conference. So I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the basketball team. This basketball team has troubles. You know that. Let me throw a couple obvious things your way. And I have some deep throat comments and some comments from people that are guests that just came at me today, who I have permission to read. We'll do some of that, but it's pretty simple. It's the C word. This is a team without confidence. Let me repeat. This is a team without confidence. Now, I really believe this, and I've talked about this before. When you pay people, there is pressure to perform. And although there are other teams that are paying a lot of money to people, this is Kentucky, and it's different. This is the big boy league, okay? And sometimes, remember, this was a story last year many, many times, talking about how the kids from last year wanted to prove that they were good enough to play on this level. Because so many of them admitted, there was nothing negative to admit, that they never thought that a Kentucky would come after them. But, you know, with rosters changing and all that kind of stuff and getting better, that happens. And so you have to wonder if that's part of it with some of the players brought in. You have to wonder if you're making $3.5 million, whatever Ortega is making, if he's feeling it. Sometimes people are comfortable in their skin in a role that they have, and when you elevate them, they're not as comfortable. Many of you have heard this line. It's an old line. You have somebody who's an assistant coach for a long time and a really good assistant coach, and they become a head coach. And it's the old line, you move one seat over, and then you have to make decisions. And the decisions are on you. And there are some people, this is not negative, who are better assistant coaches than head coaches. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to get you inside Pope's head, which is what I think he did. And I would bet Jimmy's paycheck on that. And it's not working out, and his problem. You cannot, and I've said this before, you can't spend $22 million or whatever the hell it was and not have an alpha dog. Today, there is no alpha dog on the team. And by the way, don't tell me JQ, because he's not on the court. And I'll say what I've said forever. Whenever he comes back, if you expect him to be 100% JQ, it'd be a miracle. At a certain point in time, he'll get in basketball shape. I don't care about all the stuff he does on the side. And he'll get more confidence in his knee. That's normal. It's just normal. And you can't go into a season, and I don't believe Pope would do this. This would be dumb by Pope, okay? Thinking that JQ was going to be the alpha dog and the team was going to rely upon that when you have a young man coming back from that kind of knee injury. I don't believe he did that. I do believe, and Pope would never say this, he's too positive. I do believe he expected Owe to be the alpha dog. Now, if you're looking for something positive from last night, it's the best Owe has played. I saw him do something he should do all the time when applicable. And I saw him do something that, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and I ran it by some people last night. He went on the floor. He went on the floor and went for a ball. He wasn't going to do that early in the season. He had no confidence in his body. And by the way, that's not negative. And what did I say yesterday? In the press conference leading up to last night's debacle against North Carolina, he said the obvious. You know, I told you I was okay, but I really wasn't. And what have I been saying you from listening to the show ad nauseum? From the first day he was coming back, and before he was coming back, I said, do not expect him to be Ortega Owe from day one. I don't give a blank how good of a shape he is. I don't give a blank how good of an athlete he is. If you haven't been running, you haven't been running. If you have been on the court running up and down, you are not in basketball shape. I don't care how much time you spend in a swimming pool and lifting weights and all that kind of stuff. There's basketball shape and there's other shape. The other shapes get you ready to get in shape for basketball. And I said, you got to give the kid 3 weeks. And around the Michigan State game, I said that was enough. Last night is the best he's played. So there's two things here. If Owe is really a 12, 13, 14 play kind of guy, and if he can get back to what he was doing last year, and that's all you get from him, if he's as good as last year, and I still have that visualization in my head of the great play he made against Oklahoma, that layup, have there been 10 better plays clutch-wise in the last 10 years in Kentucky basketball? I don't think so. And the athleticism and the heart and the hustle and the veracity and the intensity of that was just unbelievable. He can't do that today. He just can't. I'm not saying he won't be able to this year. He can't do it now. So put your head in Mark Pope's head. If you're Mark Pope, and this is an evaluation thing, and you honestly believed that Ortega would take the next step. And by the way, I did too. I didn't think he'd be a superstar. I thought he would take a step up. I didn't think he'd be SEC Player of the Year. Never thought that. Never, ever, 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 ever thought that. I do think he had a great shot, and I'm obviously going to be wrong about being all SEC, but not the best player in the league. No. You never heard of that in my mouth. Never. I was surprised he got that much love. He did. I wonder if he's feeling pressure. I wonder if what he is a role player. By the way, Casey Wallace in the pros is a role player. He just won an award for Defensive Player of the Month. And OKC is so smart how they use him because they have so much offense with SGA and other players. That's why they're so good. It's like you're a role player and you're an all-star on defense, and we don't care about your offense. And you know what? Otega Owe is not as good as Casey Wallace. He's not. If Pope went into the season thinking that Owe was going to be his alpha dog, and I believe that's what he believed, it ain't happening. Now, think about this. And if some of you believe I'm putting pressure on Owe, I'm not. But guess what? You can't pay somebody $3.5 million or whatever the hell it is and not have pressure. This is true professional sports. Don't give me this crap about college sports. That era is over. It's over. It's over. And so, therefore, comments you make about players can be different. When I did TV for 1,000 years, I always said, even when I did various radio shows, I will not criticize players in college the way I do professional athletes. And I stood by that mantra for a long time because I thought it was the right thing to do, and I think it's fair. Guess what? That crap is done. It's just done. And by the way, it wasn't done on this show today. I've said this before. I'm sorry. You're making $3.5 million, $4 million, whatever the hell it is. I'm sorry. You can't take the heat. Get the hell out of the kitchen. This is cold. This is professional. How many of you spent money going to Rupp Arena last night and made the long drive wherever you went to go home last night far greater than Fayette County? I'm sure there's some of you who are listening in different parts of the state who maybe didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning or afterwards. And you're tired and you're ticked and you spent money. And right now, I bet there are some fans not quitting on Kentucky basketball. Maybe there are some, but are saying, I'm not getting the value for what I'm spending. You owe me more. That's what fans think. I have no problem with that. None. All right, here's the comment about Owe. I want you to think about this. Now, if you're thinking, because of what I'm about to say, that I'm pushing all the pressure on Owe for losing last night, no. If you're thinking I'm putting pressure on Owe, yes. You can't have it both ways. That's a bunch of crap. You can't pay someone that much money and expect results, and you're not having and not put some garbage on him. I want you to think about this. Jimmy, how's your math?
Oh, I have shoes on, so I don't know if I could go above anything above 10 and give it a whirl.
Okay. I'm not saying Owe should have scored 30 points against North Carolina. No. It's reasonable to assume that if you're the stud, and Jimmy, you tell me if you think this is unreasonable, that he should score 20, 22, maybe 24 points against North Carolina because he's the stud and he should get the ball more, period. Now, how's your math? He scores 22 points last night, and who wins?
I believe that would be Kentucky.
Amen. Let me repeat this. He scores 22 points, and Jimmy, who wins the game last night?
Kentucky.
Okay. So when Marino, and God bless him, by the way. Look, I don't know the kid personally, but from everything I've seen, how do you not love this kid is ridiculous. I mean, I love his future in basketball. By the way, his hands got to get stronger. They just do. He went to the free throw line. He's not been a good free throw shooter. That was crunch time. That was crunch time. And I got to tell you, when he made 2 free throws and Kentucky went up 1, you know what I thought? Oh, I'm not going to use that word. He made those 2, and I'm thinking Kentucky's going to win. Because everybody on the team, everybody in the arena knows he hasn't been a good free throw shooter. He hits 2. That is money. That is clutch. That is clutch. And I was really happy for the kid. And then Yelovich does a really good job defensively on Wilson, but they can't get a rebound. And they lose the game. So I'm going to give you my thought at the moment before Marino went to the line. Before he hit the 2, my thought wasn't about Marino. My thought was quite simply, when you look at the Blue Bloods, which Kentucky is and North Carolina is, think of the level. You understand this. He's at the free throw line at that moment, and I'm saying these are two bad basketball teams. Not one, but two bad basketball teams. And when I say bad, bad for the expectations that you have at North Carolina and bad for the expectations you have at Kentucky. They're bad. North Carolina might have won, and they got out of town with a win, and I know their point guard didn't play, but from last night, do you think North Carolina is a special team? No. You think Kentucky's a special team? No. And by the way, it's possible both will become special teams before the end of the year. And Chandler missed that layup that I thought he was going to get. I got to tell you, I'm watching the game, and in the scoreboard, they'll have, just the light stats and stuff like that. When it came up that Kentucky was shooting 9% from threes, that's after Garrison, of all people, hit the 1-3. Of all people. And this is terrible. When I saw the 9%, I'm going, oh, this reminds me of Kentucky-Georgetown in Seattle Final Four 1984 when I was there. 3 for 33. Why that came in my cranium, it's negative. I know it. And Georgetown had been in my head a little bit more because, they played Georgetown earlier this year. So it's in my head a little bit more, but it popped in my head. Oh, no, 9%. 9%. I'm seeing 9%. Ah! These kids have no confidence. I no longer want to hear this crap that somebody made 20 in a row in practice. I don't care. Seriously, I don't care. Because until this happens on the court during games, it's superfluous to me. Until it happens in the games, it means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. Nothing at all. Why would it mean something? Hey, great, I hit 43 free throws in a row, but in a game I clanked 5 of 10. I don't care. These kids have no confidence. It's very, very, very tough. Very, very, very tough to see any team shoot 1 for 13. It's very, very tough to see any basketball team go 10 minutes without getting a bucket and miss 13 shots and hit 2 of their last 16. That's bad crap. That's bad. And I don't know, Jimmy, if we have that soundbite. I sent you a bunch, but I finished working about 2 o'clock this morning with looking at the sound and stuff like that. Pope had these couple words, uncharacteristic for us. He was talking about rebounding. I've said this before. This has nothing to do with Mark Pope. I can't stand the line, that's not who we are. Right? How many times have you heard, that's not who we are, when something doesn't go the way you thought it would go? No, that's who you are in that moment. That's who you are. It's a weak, soft, cop-out cliche that's used all across this country, and I can't stand it. Now, if that's who you are when you stink, and it happens time and time and time and time and time again, that's a pattern, and it's worse. If that's how you are when you can't hit a 3 and hit only 1 on that night, and it happens one time, that was an aberration. But in that moment, in that game, that's who the hell you are, okay? I feel like taking soap and what? Jimmy, did you ever have your mouth washed with soap when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, bar soap and liquid soap.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think the liquid soap only happened because there wasn't a bar of soap handy to rake across my bottom teeth. Yeah.
It happened to me a couple of times, but, I'm more than twice your age. So I assumed that your generation didn't get that. Was it your mom or dad, and were they tough? I shouldn't get on this tangent.
It was my mom that got us with the soap. Yeah.
And you're smiling because you've mentioned you love your mom dearly. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to think, oh, now Jimmy hates his mom because no, you're smiling.
Oh yeah, I remember it, and one of the times I said something around the house. I said this sucks, and that was a no. I think that was the liquid soap time. That was one of the worst.
Can I be no filter on you? I know it's my choice. It's my show. So there was a lovely party last night for Craig Oliver. Craig is a great dude. He's retiring general manager, really popular, helped out so many, has friends that go back decades and decades, and Lynn Martin and LN Communication did a really nice party. And I got to tell you, what Lynn said about Craig from the heart was very emotional. It was really a lovely gathering. I couldn't stay as long as I wanted to going to the game. But I got to tell you, so, I left, and then because I had one beer. When you're 73 and have one beer, what do you have to do? So I came back in because I had to go to the bathroom. And I had already left, Jimmy, when I saw you. And it was really crowded and stuff. Like, we were at Char's, and it's a really nice place. I had never been there before. I understand Tony Mills owns it, and he's the former UK football player. I got to get Tony on the show. He was on my initial list. Tony was a great interview and a great guy, and I hear a very successful businessman. But anyway, I'm walking by, and it's really crowded and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of walked by Jimmy. You're seeing people, stuff like that, and I basically didn't recognize him. I have never. We're in our 4th year together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would think I know what the hell you look like, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a hat on, and it took me a second to realize it was you. And all right, you're going to be mad at me, and I stand by what I said. You look a lot older without your hat on.
Yeah, that's what I have every time I don't wear a hat, which I feel naked without one. I don't know why. It's just I always have a hat on. And whenever I go out and I don't have a hat on, my wife looks and she's like, "Oh, wow, you look nice with that." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. I guess I just look like a schlub with a hat on." But I have heard that before, that I look older without a hat.
Oh, I didn't think I was the first one. I don't think I was a genius on my part. And here's what we won't do. We won't talk about all the things that you do with and without your hat. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, we don't need to bring that up again.
Yeah, and it might be true and it might not be true, and we're just going to throw it out there. Fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Leave it for the imagination.
Absolutely. And the other side of my brain is saying right now?
Yeah.
Shut up, Cutler.
Basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the other thing. Not only do I not have confidence, and I don't like saying this, okay? I don't enjoy saying what I'm going to say. This is a soft basketball team. It's one thing if Michigan State is one of the toughest teams, and I don't expect Kentucky to be as tough as Michigan State because they're not coached that way. And if that's a little shot against Pope, you want to take it? Okay. And I'm not saying you have to be as tough as Michigan State to win a national championship. Otherwise, they would have won many more national championships. And Izzo is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And I love Izzo. I love what he stands for. I love the old school. I love his honesty. He's absolutely, unequivocally one of my favorite coaches of all time. And he should have been the Kentucky coach. And I've talked about that, but I'm not going to go on that tangent. Just not going to do it. This is a soft team. S-O-F-T. 20 offensive rebounds by North Carolina. And if you want to say, oh, Cutler, they had some big guys. I don't give a crap. I don't care. Paul Silas was about 6'5", couldn't jump higher than I can now, and was one of the greatest rebounders of all time. I don't want to hear it. Charles Barkley was 6'4", was one of the greatest rebounds. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Rebound is heart and hustle, and they sucked at rebounding. And when Pope is saying uncharacteristic, yeah, uncharacteristic because the other team is really good. No, that's who you were last night. UK was a soft team last night. When Kentucky played Ohio State last year, they were soft as hot butter. Now they improved. Okay, that's the caveat. Do I think this team can improve? I do. Will they? Have no idea. None. And if you recall, Jimmy, you remember me saying I had no confidence in them winning last night on the show. Remember I said that?
Yeah.
Later, I talked to Dick Hoops Weiss. He didn't hear the show, and I'm going to ask Hoops to do the show next week. My dear friend, one of the greatest writers of all time. And so he had Thanksgiving dinner with the Carrs. Andrew Carr, Lizzie Carr, the Carr family. They've been personal friends for decades and decades, going back when Andrew's dad played, at Delaware and that kind of stuff. So Hoops had told me he had dinner with the Carrs. And Lizzie, I don't know if you heard the show yesterday. It was a Radio Gold show with Debbie Stein, who was unbelievable with Lizzie Carr. Everything was great. I mean, I am so fortunate with the gets. So I opened it up something like this. Hey, Lizzie, I know who you ate Thanksgiving dinner with. And, I've never talked to Lizzie before, but I've heard great things about her. I mean, just spectacular things. And she said, who? I said, Dick Hoops' wife. Hoops! So, Hoops, they had Thanksgiving dinner together. Boy, am I rooting for them Thursday night. Neither here nor there. This is a soft basketball team. And when I talked to Hoops before the game, he said, Big boy, do you think Kentucky's going to win? And I said no. And then I said to myself, why didn't I say that during the show? I think my opinion got stronger. I wasn't being wimpy, but sometimes you change your opinion to get stronger. I've been guilty of that, and it's not guilty. I take that back. Your mind changes a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. And he called me as soon as the show was over, and he said, this is bad. This is bad. It's really bad. And what he does is, you got to remember, he's in like 7, 8 Hall of Fames. He's one of the great basketball minds that's ever been behind a typewriter when he started. There's no question about it. And he thinks it's really bad too. This is a soft basketball team with no confidence. Let me repeat. This is a soft basketball team with no confidence. It just is. It just is. If you disagree, hit the text line. Now, is it possible this is a good basketball team in mid-January? Yes. Will it? Have no clue. Have no clue. Now, here's the other thing. It's interesting. I just got a message. Travis is in the waiting room, and I'm going to make this comment, and we're going to go to a break, and then Travis Ford is joining us. There's one word that Pope said last night that really, can I use the word with P, or should I say ticked me off?
Either or.
Really ticked me off. I don't understand this. This is inexcusable. He said there was some fatigue last night. I don't know what the hell these guys are doing in practice. Fatigue? I'm sorry. Go look at the minutes that the Rupp guys played. Some of this stuff with basketball is getting so soft, it's just ridiculous. Tell you what's not ridiculous. If you need a car, this is a classy and smart thing to do. Check out my friends at the Quantrill Auto Group. Been talking about every day, the XC60, the Volvo, the hybrid. It's a beautiful car. Best car we've had. We've had 3 cars now from Quantrill, 12, 13, 14 years, whatever it is. I trust them. I trust they're going to give me a good deal. I trust that they'll take care of our cars because they do. They do. It's pretty simple. When they tell me something, I believe it. And through the course of time, Mark Rout, general manager, and I have become friends. We're buddies, and I don't think he treats me any differently because we're friends. I just think that's who Mark is. Old football player, smart guy. Anyway, whether it's the Volvo, the Cadillac, the Subaru, whoa, don't forget 0% interest on the Outback for 36 months. Want to stretch it out to 72, 1.9. What a deal. Don't forget the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, Cadillac, Volvo, and they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. The great Travis Ford coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru! The Outback is special, so check this out. 0% That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal! 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lights, 250 strands of lights, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lights.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet. But here at Clark's Pep & Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales Theater Box Candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lights so I can get over to Clark's Pep & Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I hope Travis Ford doesn't get mad at me for saying this. I can already see a look like, all right, Cutler, where the heck you coming from? I've heard your crap before. If he could get up and down the court 3 times, I'd have stuck his fanny about 25 feet out, told him, don't play defense, we'll go 5-on-4. Throw the ball along to Travis. And if he took 3 shots, wide open now. Wide open, nobody on him. Wide open, he might have hit 2, which means it would have been better than Kentucky last night. I couldn't believe it. In the history of Kentucky, the glorious history of Kentucky. There will never, ever be a game again where there's 2 wise, and they did Stein in the first half because he had to leave. 2 wise to cheers and 1 3 made. Never going to happen again. It's going to be a bad trivia question forever. And I knew you wouldn't do this to me. This is not a pleasant day for Kentucky, but I know you wouldn't back out because you're Travis. And I love you dearly for always doing the show. And you got a smirk on your face. I need to shut up. But come on, Trav, before we get into I left you alone. And nobody's coming to you. Could you hit 2 or 3 wide open threes?
Well, I could. I definitely could, and I think, but they're not going to be wide open. It's a game, Alan. Now the clock is ticking, so you're not getting open shots.
I'm changing the rules.
North Carolina is not just going to leave me open. I don't think.
Yeah, but okay. Sorry, Trav, with the age factor, we're making a rule. You can't guard Travis Ford.
Now, I like that rule, and I would need that rule. Not only do I like it, I need that rule.
By the way, when you mess around in the gym, you can still hit threes, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, if you went in Rupp right now, took 100 free throws, how many would you make?
Oh goodness, I actually did it a couple of weeks ago. I was in Rupp and I was doing a game, doing the television, and after shoot around, I got out there and just shot free throws, and I would probably make 95 or so or more. Yeah, maybe even a little bit better. I didn't miss many. As long as I don't have to play defense, as long as I don't have to move, I can make it happen, but just don't make me move much. So.
I'm saying this, I'm going to tell you this story real quick, and you're going to agree. I haven't seen him in years, but I became good friends with Adrian Smith, who went from junior college where he was really poor to here, part of the national championship team in '58, last guy picked for one of the NBA All-Star games and was the MVP of that All-Star game. And Odie was you're a great shooter. He was a great shooter. And a couple times as he was banking and when he'd come down from Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati and stuff like that, and we were chatting stuff like that, and he's on the court with respect, suit, banker suit, the whole thing, dressed really well, in socks. Who was going to tell him that you can't have shoes on? But out of respect. And he's not missing and not missing and not missing. I said, man, your form is real good. He says, I shoot free throws a couple times a week. He said, I don't move. Yeah. I said, can you make 90? And he looked at me and his tone of voice changed. I make at least 90 all the time.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike. Yeah. But After 6 knee surgeries, a hip replacement, I'm not moving very much. Stand me at the free throw line.
Wait a second. You've had 6 knee surgeries?
Oh, yeah. 6 knee surgeries and a hip replacement.
Whew. So something tells me your jogging days are over.
They're over. I'm a lot of Peloton these days. A lot
Okay.
of Peloton. Yeah.
Okay. But you're still doing something.
Oh, absolutely. Love my Peloton.
Okay. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to shut up because people want to hear you. I saw a team with no confidence when it comes to shooting. I saw a team that's soft because their rebounding was awful. I saw a team that's hesitating, and I've talked about this before. I think Mark has given them so much stuff. I think at a certain point the light bulb's going to go on, and I believe that. But I think they're thinking of all the things that he's told them, and they're not just reacting. And when that happens, this might be a much, much, much better basketball team. I have hope that this will be a much, much better basketball team. I don't know when, but with all that, what say you? And watch this. I'm going to shut my mic off, Travis Ford.
Yeah, watching the game, and I watched a little bit more of it. I thought I thought there was a lot of positives, actually. Obviously disappointed, and I know everybody disappointed their loss, but I thought since the Tennessee Tech game, we had probably 5 days to practice. And we all know during Thanksgiving and Christmas time, you get a lot of extra time. It's a great time for your team to improve. I thought defensively, we were tough. We were aggressive. We had great energy. We got back to turning them over. We turned over North Carolina that led to points. Great defense leading to offense. Turnovers leading to points in the first half. I really liked our mindset defensively. And I think overall defensively for the whole 40 minutes, you can win with that defense. It was some of the more aggressive, tougher defense I think that we've played. And I thought it was pretty good other than the rebounding. And you go back and you watch some of the tape, and yeah, there's some, I don't know if you call it effort or whatever it was, but a lot of them were bad bounce. A lot of them just bad bounces that went to North Carolina a little bit. If you watch it, it's no excuses. You can't give up that many offensive rebounds and give up that many second chance points, which eventually got them. The 3-point shooting and the second shots is eventually what cost Kentucky the game. You can't make 2 threes against North Carolina and only have 8 assists and 9 turnovers. Those are 2 glaring stats with the rebounding that cost Kentucky. But with all that said, I read yesterday a lot on social media, and I was seeing that this was a must-win game, and people were saying crazy stuff like that. That's not the case for Kentucky because we have so many other opportunities. We have a lot of opportunities, not just in non-conference, which we do coming up in the Gonzaga, St. John's, Indiana, but when you're playing in the SEC and the way the SEC is right now, you have a lot of opportunities to be able to put this behind you eventually, hopefully. And that's what we all hope. That, eventually we look back at this, as hard as it is to go through right now, what we hope is we have so many opportunities for big wins that we can look back and say, these were some great growing pains that we had to go through to get there.
I really did shut my mic off because I was afraid I was going to interrupt you. Trav, I've only been doing this 50 years. I don't trust myself. Okay, so shame on me for a second, okay? In my notes, which I did not say in my monologue, I have to the left, Jelly, stop, Wilson. And so that's amplified what you're saying, but I've only been talking about the negative. So go ahead, call me a negative. You know what? I thought his defense was really good. I was impressed that Wilson only had 5 of 19 in the stretch where they were 0 for you're making me say positive stuff that I have in my notes that I believe is true. And I'm not holding back. I'm being kind of silly. But when they were 0 for 13, honestly, I thought the defense kept them in the game. But I would it was
winning defense.
In my notes.
It was winning defense. They can take that defense, and if they carry that over and improve their offense, we were in good shape. Kentucky got up 6 or so under 10 minutes, and we took some really quick, tough shots that I think led right into North Carolina, led exactly what they needed, being on the road to be able to make up a 6-7 point deficit, whatever it was. We could, and you could correct those things, and Mark Pope will correct those things. They'll watch film, they'll look at the positives, and there were some positives. I thought, again, defensively, we did a lot of really good things. and just clean up some of the offense, make a few shots, things like that, and get guys healthy. That would obviously help a lot of causes, get some guys healthy. Then I think we can look back and, hopefully learn from this, and it makes Kentucky a better team.
You think I'm nuts that I'm concerned about their confidence now? And let me throw one thing at you. Money is money, and kids are getting paid all over the place. God bless, more power to them. You know me, that you should have been paid, seriously. And I've always believed that. How much money all SEC twice on the court and with academic? Trav, what would you make right now if you were 19 years old? Come on.
I don't even like to think about it. So yeah, it would have been nice. It would have been nice if they had the NIL back then. Definitely.
It would have been a sweet thing. The funny stories about the football players, your age and older, when they would have the $20 and they would go to all you can eat places in town, and they'd walk in the door and the owner would go, no, the football team's going to eat us out of, because they would eat like 3 meals at once. These big guys, they had to do it. I really think there's a lot of basketball players, and we zero in Kentucky, who are making money, who are feeling the pressure to perform up to that level. I think that's human nature, by the way. And a guy who maybe made X last year, but now is making more, you're asking maybe a person to do something that they're not capable of doing, or it's not within their comfort zone, and either you change or you're not. I'm not being negative. I just think that's the way of the world.
Yeah, I think that goes into all of everything that you start talking about the expectations, and obviously they're magnified at Kentucky for Kentucky basketball. They're magnified. You start with, a great recruiting class, and then the rankings, and, all the different accolades and things that people feel like, whether they feel like they have to live up to them or whatever they are real. As you said, that is reality. That is real. And, all that goes along with, trying to figure out what it takes to be successful. It all goes with it. The good and the bad, and that's part of it. And what I look at Kentucky basketball, obviously, everything is magnified as far as wins and losses. And, I like I said, I was talking to somebody earlier this morning, and I said, you just can't, in today's age period in college athletics, I don't think you can get too high or you can't get too low, because it can change very, very quickly, very quickly. You see it in any sport. Somebody, in football, when you play 10 games, you could lose. You could go 1-5. Then all of a sudden you win 2 games. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, everything's being fixed. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden you lose again. And it's a roller coaster ride. You just can't get too high. You can't get too low. And for Kentucky basketball, it's crazy. And people might think, there was some positives out of that game last night I really, really liked. I think they've gotten better since the Louisville game, since the Michigan State game. I saw some real positives. What I thought was wrong can be fixed through getting guys healthy, but also getting a little bit better shot selection at a crucial time. Time and score is very, very important. Was very important last night, time and score. But you just can't get too high, can't get too low, because there's a lot of opportunities for big wins the rest of the season, not just coming up, but for the rest of the season. There's a lot of opportunities for a lot of big wins to make this go away.
And hopefully it will. By the way, and I don't think last night was a must win, because the season could turn out wonderful. So I never bought. I think last night was bad. And I said this in the monologue before you joined us. I was really happy, and I don't know Marino, but I know people that know him really well. And I've heard nothing but what a sweet, lovely kid who's got a great future. His hands got to get a little stronger, but I mean, for a freshman, he is wonderful. So when that kid went to the line, I was so happy for the kid that he made 2 free throws in a row in pressure situations, and he's not Travis Ford at the free throw line. He's been bad. And You know what I said? Kentucky's going to win. But here's the other thought. And one more, Trav, and I'll shut up. I'm going to turn my mic off again, because I don't want to interrupt you, because you know how I am. The other thing, before the free throw line, I said, these are 2 bad basketball teams. When I said bad when North Carolina is blue blood, bad when it comes to Kentucky being a blue blood, but that doesn't mean both won't be really good in March. But I thought they were bad no matter what happened. And then when he made the 2 free throws, they're going, gosh, darn it, that has to up the whole bench. Everybody in the team knows he's not a good free throw shooter. And to be that clutch in that moment, taking the deep breath, and you can see how good he was and going, oh, this is a sign Kentucky's going to win.
It's a good point. I've talked to a lot of people this morning, and nobody's really brought that up. Those were 2 big free throws, and they were – nothing but the bottom of the net. I mean, he looked like he was a 90% free throw shooter. And the reason, it's great because, like you said, he is a freshman. He'd had his issues from the free throw line earlier, but he's worked really hard. You can tell he's worked really hard on his free throws, and they look good. And to be able to make them in a pressure situation and pave off for Kentucky, later in the season. But yeah, it's, I'm a little different. I think North Carolina is really good. Now I know they were without maybe their best player or Trimble, who was really, 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 really good. But man, you look at their center, the big kid inside, he is really, really good. Wilson is one of the top freshmen in the country. You got Trimble, who's sitting out. I really think them and Kentucky by the end of the season, when you start looking at them in February and March, are 2 teams that could go very, very far in the NCAA tournament. But I didn't think both teams played well offensively last night, but I thought both teams played really hard, played with a lot of energy and grit. You could tell it was a high-level game. You could, I wasn't there, but I obviously watched it on TV. You could just tell it was a high-level game. And a lot of times that happens. The offense is ugly when there is a lot on the line. And I think both teams felt like it was a big game and a big win if whoever pulled it out. But I didn't think either team played well offensively.
Henry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The kid from Estonia, the kid you're talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try. So I like him, but he's really good. Yeah. He's really, really good.
So I'm talking to Dick Hoops twice after the game, and we're commiserating the game and stuff like this. Big boy, this is not good. We're just, the up and back stuff and normal. And I said, on the phone, I called him the big kid from Estonia, and he uses his elbows. I said, man, he's got elbows like Phil Jackson. Is that before you? Jackson he would use his elbows. They were weapons.
Elbows and shoulders. They're all elbows and all shoulders.
Oh, man, he put his elbows out. My gosh, he had spacing enough for an apartment building.
And he's, I don't know how tall, 7 feet tall, whatever he is, but he understands he understands his height. When I mean by that, he backs guys down. He just gets to his spot. He's in no hurry, gets to his spot. And then he's very active off pick and rolls. He's very active. And then he's active on the glass. He is a very high-level player. Again, I go back. I think North Carolina's even right now, probably a top 10 team.
Really?
I do. You get Trimble in there. I think they're a definitely top 10, top 15 team, without question, all year long.
They missed Trimble. Sorry, I should have shut my mic off, Trev. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, they do miss Trimble. Their point guard last night was very solid. Didn't shoot much. Looked like an old school point guard, just trying to run the team. But yeah, North Carolina's got a really good basketball team. Very good.
I thought the job, like I said, Delovich on Wilson was absolutely great. And here's the other thing about Marino. He was at times overmatched, but he hung tough, and he played 30 minutes. And going against the big kid from Estonia, okay, the kid from Estonia was better, but I thought Marino, for a freshman, did a great job because he had 9 rebounds. He blocked 3 shots. He had 2 steals in 30 minutes and was 4 for 6 from the free throw line, including those. Matter of fact, I thought he was really, really good last night, considering he's playing against a guy that's going to make a lot of money for a long time. And matter of fact, I was thinking during the game, I have in my notes here to the left, Marino next year, and I wrote versus Estonia because I can't pronounce the name right. And it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm not knocking the kid from Estonia because we both talk about how good he is. Next year, when this kid is stronger, Marino, he might outplay him. And to me, it's a compliment to what Marino did last night. Am I nuts?
No, without question. I agree with you 100%. I think Marino, sky's the limit for him. I just think he keeps getting better and better and better. And he really makes an impact when he's in the game. But you're looking at the Estonia kid from North Carolina. I think he's a redshirt junior or senior. He's an older player. He's been around for a minute, and that makes a difference. You're looking at it's only Malachi Marino's sixth, seventh college game of his career, and here he's a starter at University of Kentucky playing North Carolina on a big stage. I definitely thought he held his own definitely held his own, was productive. But I think the kid from North Carolina at this point, obviously, I just was highly impressed with him, highly impressed with his talent level. Very much so. It looked like kind of one of the old North Carolina teams. They didn't, they weren't ever in a hurry necessarily. They used their big guys. They got certain guys the ball, got touches where they wanted to get touches, guys that they wanted to shoot, shot it. It kind of looked like one of the old school North Carolina teams to me.
Have to clean this up. Privately, I wouldn't have to, but on radio, even I have to clean this up. Hoops and I are talking last night after the game. By the way, the kid from Estonia, I was guessing he was 22 or 23. He's only 21, but he's been lifting some of these, as you know, better than me, some of these European guys that don't lift weights. He looks like he's lifted weights before he came to North Carolina. So what I said to Hoops, and he laughed, but you're not going to laugh because I have to clean it up, that North Carolina looked like the kind of team that Dean Smith had before Michael Jordan played, when they used to have a couple guys that were 6'10" with sharp elbows, and exactly what you're saying. They knew who was supposed to take the shot. They knew where. I was actually impressed with the discipline that they had, especially without their point guard. Not that I'm trying to make this a North Carolina thing, but I actually thought that Davis, through the course of time, has become a much better coach. And I don't know if he was ready when he got smart enough. There's no question about it. But, right, when you become a coach, I think he's a much better coach today than when he first got there. And you'd expect that. But I saw the same things you saw. I'm going, okay, there's discipline. Guys know their spots. He's told guys in this spot, please shoot, please do this. Yeah. And I thought they were very well coached last night.
Yeah, they're and when we talk about, they get guys the ball that need the ball. They almost force feed it to certain spots sometimes, and they're within their offense, and it caused some turnovers in the first half because they're so structured within their offense where they come down and reverse the ball from the point guard to the five-man. The five-man reverses it to the other opposite wing. A lot of times the five-man wasn't even looking to the opposite wing because they're so structured. And Kentucky had about 2 to 3 steals where they got in the passing lane just based on knowing what North Carolina is. I wouldn't necessarily say there's such a patterned offensive team, but you could kind of tell where they were kind of force-feeding the ball at times just to get certain guys touches. And they would play off that, whether it would be getting Wilson the ball at certain places, their center the ball at certain places, different things like that. But in the first half, Kentucky really did a great job of creating offense from their defense and getting some easy points off steals. And I think that could be a real weapon for Kentucky. I still, and it's, I think everybody can see it, and you can look at stats. Their defense is good enough to win any game right now. Their defense last night was really, really good.
I'm looking at Owe. As I recall, it's the first time he's gone on the floor to dive for a ball, which leads me to believe he's healthier and has more confidence. He said the day before the game, and this didn't surprise me, I'm not being negative now. Kids say this all the time. You might have said this to me. I'm smiling when I'm saying this because you were tough. When you were hurt, you go, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Trav, your leg, you're dragging it. I'm exaggerating now. I'm fine, because that's just the way you and your dad, the way you brought up. So when Owe said that he was fine, I never believed it. And my thing is, okay, you're a great athlete, great, but you haven't played basketball. So you got to give the kid at least 3 weeks to get in basketball shape. So he finally said 2 days ago, when I told you when I was okay, I wasn't, but now I'm okay. And I just smiled. That's not negative. I just think, okay, he finally admitted he looked physically much better last night, and I thought he'd have it by Michigan State, but he did crossover dribbles a little quicker. He went to the basket a little quicker. He took 11 shots, but I thought he should have wanted the ball more in the end. Here's my logic. And this is, you love telling me I'm wrong. You spent $22 million. Mark Pope isn't stupid. Duh. You can say on the one hand, you can't spend $22 million, whatever the hell it was, without having an alpha dog. I believe in my heart that when he constructed this, and I never thought Owe would be SEC Player of the Year, but I thought he could easily be first team All SEC. There's a lot of good players in the SEC. That's not a knock against Owe. I think he expected Owe to be the alpha dog. He might become the alpha dog. Maybe last night was a little sign of it. And when he's putting the roster together, I'm not putting this on Owe, but I've already said this, and I mean it. I'm not saying he should have scored 30 points last night, Trav. I'm not saying that. But if he scores like 22 points, which you expect your star in a big game to want the ball more and see the ball more, they win last night. And that's not going to surprise me if he starts doing that in big games, because he scored 16. And he kind of played like he did last year. You know, a couple assists, a couple turnovers, a couple of steals, a couple of blocks. It was really good. I mean, he kind of was stat stuffing last night. I'm going, ooh, this is kind of like a really good sign. And so I'm saying, when he constructed the roster, I think he expected Owe in a game last night not to score 30, but if he scores 20 or 24, that covers some things up, and they win. Is that putting too much pressure on a kid who's supposed to be your alpha, or am I out of my mind?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of it. Some of it, I think Owe's strength is he does everything really well. He can score, he can defend, he's physically tough. He does everything extremely well. Is he a scorer? Is he like a Jalen Lowe that is a scorer? That's what Jalen Lowe does. He's not out there. That's what he does. And I think when they were putting this team together, Jalen Lowe is such a big piece of this because he does so many things that will help other players on Kentucky's team, and he's the only guy that can do it. And what I mean by that, he's the only guy that can really break somebody down off the dribble and get in the seams and loosen up the defense. He can get Chandler open shots. He can get Owe open shots. He can get, the shooters, all these guys open shots because he can get in the lane. But he also can go out and get you 20, 25 too. And I think that would help Owe become that guy again where he doesn't feel like – I don't know if he needs the pressure to having to go out and score 20, 25. I think he can, but his strength is being that 14 to 18 points, maybe – but being the best defender, the toughest defender, leading defensively, leading physically, leading and doing all that. And that's what makes him a great player. It's like when I played, I wasn't, I wasn't a guy that's going to go out and score. I had games of 25 and 29 and 30 and all that. But my strength came from, all right, I need to make open shots, but also directing the team, making sure everybody's in the right place at the right time. Everybody, their strength, you don't have to be great by just scoring points. That's not, even though Kentucky probably needs that now without Lowe and, Quaintance and all those guys right now, they do need somebody to step up and say, all right, who's the go-to guy? He's obviously at the top of the list. And I'm with you. Last night, probably needed 20, 25 from him. Probably needed that from him last night. But, again, it was more of a defensive game on both sides from North Carolina and Kentucky more than it was either team trying to outscore each other. Whereas when you look at the Gonzaga game coming up, Gonzaga's averaging 91 points a game, and they've played everybody. They've played the Oklahoma, Alabama, Michigan, Creighton, Maryland, Arizona State, and they're still averaging 91 points a game. So you may have to go out and try to outscore somebody when it comes to Gonzaga, and he definitely needs to get 25 or so on Friday night.
Bless you, pal. I appreciate you. It's great talking to you. And I'm glad I shut my mic off so I didn't interrupt you.
Both of us like to talk too much. That could be a problem. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, you're the best. I appreciate you tremendously. Hopefully you can join us down the road and keep on smiling, dude. I appreciate our relationship a lot.
Always enjoy it, man. Same here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Back at you. Travis Ford, the great Travis Ford, and Jimmy with his analysis. Bullseye, right? Bullseye
on the money.
Bullseye. And the point about Lowe is bullseye. And now we got another bullseye coming up next, Jim Master, the great shooting Jim Master. It's interesting. Great shooter, great tackler. What a show, right? Travis Ford, Jim Master, Chris Chenault. all great at what they did. So is Terry Page. Terry Page. A great licensed massage therapist. 859-373-0578. My neck is bothering me because of too much exercise. I'm not really smart at this sometimes. And I wish I was seeing her today. I'm not. It's tomorrow. Terry, I need to see you today. She'll fix me tomorrow. She does. She's spectacular in Butler, Kentucky, Monday and Tuesday. In Lexington, Thursday and Friday. Call her, text her, get an appointment, and please use my name. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Alan Cutler. 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
Looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet, but here at Clark's Pep Shop, we are. We have M&M, Milky Way, Snickers, or Twix share-size candy bars, 2 for $4.50, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pep Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
We probably had a little fatigue on the floor, which I'm going to have to find a way to kind of dig deeper into this rotation and get some quality minutes. That's going to be something really important to us as we move forward. So there's a lot we have to learn.
A lot we have to learn. Tough loss last night. They needed Jim Master and Travis Ford on the wings shooting threes. We go from Travis to Jim and then somebody else who was great at what they did. Three great athletes at Kentucky. Chris Chenault, number 2 all time in the history of UK with tackles, who joins us all the time, will be very good as well. And Jim, thank you for joining us. Star guard for Kentucky back in the 1980s when I first got here, when both of our hair had a different color.
That's exactly right.
That word really bothered me. Okay, so I'm going to throw it out. I mean, I don't get angry. I mean, from a sports term, not angry in life and that kind of thing, but I got angry when I heard that word from Pope last night. Fatigue. You didn't have fatigue. What is with today's kids? Well, what would happen if some of these kids had to play 34 minutes and play both ends of the guy? Is weightlifting taking? Are they not running enough? And it's not the first time. Fatigue, Jim. You're 19, 20 years old. You're supposed to be able to run at fatigue. Help me understand, Jim. Is it me? Am I old school? Am I nuts? That word, I can't use that word. That word ticked me off.
Yeah. And we're a pretty
deep team too. So you would think that wouldn't be a problem. Now, Ortega, he's been out. We've talked about that before, but he actually looked, I thought, pretty good last night. He took it to the hole. But yeah, a lot of problems. Still early, a lot of problems, but that's brutal. You think they could figure it out by now, the point guard situation. You think they could figure out how to get by, how to do some things, especially on your home court. So disappointed, but I still think they'll turn it around. Obviously, it would help if they could get some of the boys that aren't playing right now back out there.
No question. By the way, I thought it was always best game. He went on the floor to get a ball. He hadn't done it all year. Thought his crossover dribble was more aggressive. And he was kind of a stat stuffer. And as Travis pointed out, that Owe would get better shots if Flo was in there because he can't create shots. I thought it was a very good point.
100%.
But let me throw this at you. I'm trying to think like Pope. I get Pope's the smartest guy in the room. And so I think this is pretty obvious. You're putting, and this $22 million is going to be, it's an albatross around their neck. I didn't create it. It is what it is. It's just there. So the line is, if you're spending $22 million, you better have an alpha dog. I don't consider JQ a part of that because the kid's not on the court yet. Maybe he'll become that. And when he comes back, you better give the kid a month. If people get on this kid's case when he comes back, I'll be screaming like crazy. He's had the bad knees, got to get confidence. He's working out, but he ain't running up and down the court. And I hope people have grace for him. So I'm thinking about Pope. I want to say this, and I want to shut up because I really want your take. I think it's important. Pope saying, I'm putting this roster together, and Ortega's going to be my star. Well, maybe Ortega, although he was better last night, is just going to be like he was last year, but a little more refined. As like Butch Sanders and the Sanders kid, maybe he's like the number 2 guy, but a really, really good number 2 guy. And so maybe if you thought, and maybe he'll become like the alpha dog, and it's not working out, too early to tell, because I think always just going to continue to get better and better, then you made a mistake. Because if you're spending $22 million, you better have, a guy that's going to be a lotto pick. There's no lotto picks on this team. Maybe Quaintance will be. We'll see. But you can't count on that going into the season. It's nothing to do with Quaintance. When you got anything, could he have made a mistake? Or maybe, as smart as he is, maybe it's not panning out so far the way he thought.
I'm going to go with the latter so far. Ortega was a dog last year. He had games where he was wow. And he takes it to him, has an aggressive. I just think I give him a little pass still, but he played way better last night. I think he will be the alpha dog. The problem is, we all know it, Travis, that point guard, that's it. Now, again, I thought they could play around it. We have a lot of talent, but when you have a true point guard, not only will Ortega get better shots, Allen, everybody will get better shots. And the flow will be better. Again, I think that's one of the biggest problems. Not really a true point guard out there as I see it. But I thought they could work around it. Maybe they still can. But I thought they would have done it a lot faster. I think Colin did a better job last night, but to say he's got to be a great point guard is not fair to him. Not fair to him, 100%. He's pretty good 2 guard. And I thought he made some nice plays, but yeah, better shots come with better ball movement, the point guard doing this thing. So again, I think that's why we're not shooting as well. We're not getting not even getting as many looks at threes, right? 13 threes for a team that I thought might shoot a lot of threes. So. Well, if Flo is pushing, like you say, he gets in the lane, they converge on him. All of a sudden, you got guys wide open in the corner, and they're absolutely missing that. Chandler missed that layup at the end. Would have been a beautiful layup, and I thought he was going to make it. I thought it was in. I did too. He made a great move to the hole, and I thought, well, it's going to go in. Then he went underneath it, which was the right move because the guy was coming. And it just didn't go in. Now, that would have put it into overtime, but still, it was a great move. It was a great move. Now, again, I know we're on our home court. I'm a big home court guy, meaning you got to win. Even as poorly as they played, we didn't even talk about rebounding yet. Even as poorly as they played on rebounding, on moving the ball and shooting the 3, they were still right there. They just went 10 minutes without scoring. And they were still right there. So, again, I just think a big difference would be if not only Lowe coming back, the big fella hopefully getting to play this year. And then we had another young man that didn't get to play yesterday. He's been out for 3 games with an ankle injury. I know it sounds like excuses, but the point guard's the big one.
I agree. And by the way, I'm concerned about the Abate. If he hasn't practiced in 10 days,
Right.
okay, that means if he can start practicing today, he can't practice hard. And by the way, I have no idea if he can practice today or not. I'm just saying if he could, they're going to be ginger with him. And I look at this thing, and I could be wrong. Just a guess. I'm not a doctor. I certainly wouldn't play one on TV. But if he could start practicing tomorrow, it might be 3 weeks before he'd be 100% if he doesn't have any setbacks. High ankle sprains or high ankle sprains or high ankle sprains. That's some bad. Did you ever have a high ankle sprain?
No, but I had an ankle sprain, a pretty good one.
Okay.
In my high school year,
And how bad did it set you back?
I set out, we played one game a week, and I set out, is in the season, I set out that whole week, didn't play in the game, and then came back the next week. And of course, really taped up and a lot of therapy on it during that week's time. So
Right. And a little tender loving care, right? But you were young and tough then.
Right. A little younger, probably a lot dumber than I am now. So there we go.
Hey, if that happened to you and I now, I'd be out for 4 months.
No, well, or maybe not come back at all, right?
Yeah. So let me throw a positive at you. Two things. One, I thought it's the best game OA played. That's one. Two, I thought Yelovich's job defensively on Wilson, had they won, I might have led with it. I thought he was really, really good. I saw more of what I call, he has and I mean this, I'm smiling, and I'm really curious if you agree. He has more of like an old man YMCA game. He's kind of plotting and plotting and plotting, but he knows what he's doing. He's comfortable in his own skin. He uses his body, although he's not a big, strong guy. He knows how to use his body, uses his elbows a little bit, and that little soft shot is sweet. And I see him getting a lot more confidence. His defense really surprised me. I get Caleb Wilson. And when they were 0 for 13, their defense kept them in the game. So I'm searching for some positives that I think are legitimate.
And he did play well. Coach Pope even singled him out, I believe, and thought that was a bright spot. I thought Malachi Marino, I'm telling you, I think he played well. He knows the game. I've been very impressed. He looks like he's a starter now and been doing that for a few games. But, I think you're going to see the big fella that came in and played so well. I think you're going to see him play a lot more. So they need rebounding, Allen, too. They got to have some rebounds. That stat is atrocious.
Yes.
Offensive rebounding. Again, all that put together, I'm surprised they even kept it that close at the end. So
the kid I can't pronounce, I don't want to blow it. The kid from Estonia.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, I'm calling him Henry. I thought he was older. I just looked it up. He's 21. And a lot of these European guys, really don't lift weights. Like Jelly doesn't look like he's ever lifted any weights.
Right.
More weight since he's been here in Lexington than his whole life. Not negative. You can just look at his body. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. And I thought Marino did a wonderful job against him because he had 9 rebounds. Okay.
Yes.
He had 8 points. His hands need to be stronger. And I think that he will get much stronger. His hands sometimes when people around him are not that good. I think the kid's been great. He had 2 steals, 3 blocks. He's tough. I love him. And I put in my notes last night, next year. Well, I don't know if Henry's going to be there. I don't know if Marino's going to be there, but I think Marino will be so much stronger next year because he's a lot stronger now than he was last year at high school and so much more mature. I could see Marino, even though Henry will probably get better, I could see Marino outplay him next year. I thought for a freshman, for a kid who's only started a few games, I thought he was really, really good last night. Plus, one more. The kid's been a bad free throw shooter. And so he goes on the line, and I don't know if he can make any, and he makes 2 and takes a deep breath and under the pressure. And I said at that moment, everybody on the bench knows he's not a good free throw shooter. He made those 2 free throws. I'm a dummy. I thought they were going to win. They're down 1. He hits 2, you go up. That has to infuse energy in your bench, your teammates. Everybody loves the kid. And I'm going, if this kid can hit 2 free throws in clutch, they're going to win.
Well, the one game he missed like 7, didn't he? Or 1 for 6, 1 for 8. So my point is his free throw shooting has vastly improved. And big ones last night. I agree with that. I told you, that's the guy I've been impressed with maybe the most because I didn't know what we'd get out of him. So I'm talking about the whole season so far. Very impressed with him. He deserves, he's earned it. He's playing well. Allen, he played 31 minutes.
Yep.
Think about that for a second.
I did. As a matter of fact, when I first saw the final box, I would have guessed wrong. I would have guessed he played like 24, 26. But there's something about seeing the 3 that always changes my attitude.
Yeah. So Coach Pope must think for that position, he's the guy right now. No doubt about it.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I've said before, but you'll remember this because you're a great shooter. If he stays here a couple more years, I don't know how long he's going to be here, and I'm not starting anything. They draft on potential and stuff like that, and I think this kid's going to be so much better by March. It's not even funny. Not the point. I'm not pushing him out the door. He stays here a couple of years, Jim. I'm looking you straight in the eye. This kid's going to be a good 3-point shooter.
You're talking about Malachi?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I don't know about that, but he's a shooter. I've seen him play in high school. I think he's a very good player. Alan, he's only going to get way better.
Yep.
So I'm not going to take anything away from him. I think he's a young man that wants to learn. I think he's a young man that has a great disposition to him, and that nothing seems to bother him. Right? Plays hard. So that's another positive. So again, we got to get it going now. Al. We got a schedule now. Mark Pope and Mitch Barnhart, they've scheduled a pretty amazing, tough schedule. Think of all the good teams we're playing, name-ranked teams we're playing. So they need to get it together. I thought they were going to get it together last night, but we'll see.
Let me throw two things.
Okay.
And I'm sure I talked to you about this, and who would remember, but I talked to you guys about it. I've had this pet peeve, it's nothing to do with you or whatever, that guys like you want to play against good teams. No disrespect. Tennessee Tech was Pelfrey. I get that. You got to bring John back. That was just, John did the show. He was just beautiful. I get it. But you're a competitor. These kids are competitors. You want to play against the good teams. And I'm going to throw this out there, and God bless you if you disagree. You play, I don't know why I'm thinking about Toledo, but you play 10 Toledos with maybe 1 or 2 good games, whatever the hell it is, going into the SEC. You don't know who you are. And so, therefore, you don't know what to work on. And so when you beat a team by Nicholls State, for crying out loud, you don't learn squat. So although they're getting the crap beat out of them now in certain areas, this might help them become a really good team. And I would rather, well, yeah, I don't want Kentucky to ever lose, but I would rather they take lumps and improve and become a better team, even though people are ticked today. I'd rather, if you lose like to North Carolina, okay, you played Toledo last night. You won by 19 points. What the hell do you learn? You got exposed last night for them to work on. So you're right. It's a tough schedule, but I'm thinking Kentucky should always play a tough schedule. And I know it's one more. I don't know if you know it's true. And I know this. There were times, I don't care what Cal says. There were times, I know this. When they're putting the schedule together, there were certain teams, and I'm not talking about the North Carolinas and stuff, who were some pretty good teams at Cal. They want to play them. Schedule's too tough. I want to play easier teams, so to ease that was his philosophy. I personally disagree with it. So you're right, it's a tough schedule, but how the hell are you going to learn, Jim?
No, I didn't say I didn't like the schedule. I'm saying I like it, and you always want to play against the best teams.
And by the way, I'm not suggesting. No. I got to stop for a second. I'm not suggesting you said that you didn't like the schedule, but my point is, I was curious if you agree with me with my philosophy.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you definitely learn by playing against the best, and you want to play against the best. So in my old days, we played a little different, but we played like they're playing now. We played a great schedule. Indiana, North Carolina, remember one year, Kansas every year. So that's all the young men want to play against the best teams. I'm saying this will make them better, but they need to get it in gear. Yeah, they want to play against these teams. Of course they do.
Are you worried about the confidence?
That will make it better.
Sorry for stepping on you, Jim. You worried about the confidence? Because I really think today it could change tomorrow. I don't want to hear anymore that somebody made 93 threes in a row from the corner. I want to hear it. You got to do it in the game. I'm sorry. If I'm being an old Kermit, that's great. What do you do on the court? I'm looking at these kids right now. Could change tomorrow. And then I got a strategy thing I want to throw at you that I think you would have loved. I think these kids today have a confidence problem. Am I wrong?
You're talking about our certain team right now?
Yeah, shooting. That's a confidence thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it gets to you if you're missing. But Alan, what you said too is so true. I tell this to some of the kids over at Sayre, or ball players, and anyone can hit. I've seen a lot of players in my time they look pretty good in practice, but when the lights come on and you're in Rupp Arena, it is. You got to find out who the dogs are, Ortega. Who the dogs, and I still think our kids, but yeah, of course they're losing. A few of them are losing a little confidence because they're missing. But I'll be shocked if they don't turn this all around. I'll be shocked. They're too good of players, too good of shooters. So
I'm expecting by mid-January we'll say this was a silly conversation, legit at the time, but I also believe they can turn it around. So I don't have a
100%.
Let me throw this at you. I've watched a couple basketball games in my day, okay? And you see this in the NBA, and I'm starting with the NBA on purpose, when there's a switch. And I don't care how quick the big guy is. There's only a couple that could do this. And you see, I'm thinking about Chris Paul because the Clippers just dropped him, which I got to look into why. And I'm going, this is Chris Paul. Anyway, neither him. I know he's going to retire after this year, but I got Gene. I got to say this. This is for you. Gene Abel just said that you don't know what a lack of shooting confidence is.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, I mean, maybe I did once in a while. I don't know.
No, I never saw it. I didn't. No. Anyway, okay. So you would see like guys like Chris Paul would salivate when a big guy would be on him. And then in the NBA, what they do is guys are smart. They get the hell out of the way. And what bothered me last night is when the kid from Estonia got switched on a couple of the small guys, I was baffled that wouldn't automatically have the players on the team without Pope yelling at him, get the heck out of their way. Because if you can get by him and you get out of the way, you can't get weak side help. And I was really disappointed that Kentucky didn't take advantage when that mismatch happened, when Davis put their big guys, other big guys on guards, and they didn't blow by him like they should have. And Chandler did like once or twice, but I'm visualizing one of them. He beat the guy, but there was another guy about to come in. I'm going, get out of his way. Let Chandler or whatever operate. And so therefore they're spacing and they stand there. And I think that's coaching with one say, okay, you get a mismatch. Great, Chandler, take him off the dribble. Everybody get the hell out of the way. They were not doing that, and I don't know why. To me, that's basketball 101. Am I being too critical?
Well, I think Coach Pope said something about spacing and passing and ball movement was all poor. I totally get where you're coming from. Chandler did make a couple good ones to the hole and got there, including the last one. And I like his aggressiveness there. And Ortega, he got one time, he did a good move, and they blocked it, but a couple times he got there. So, and Alan, I agree with that. Yeah, you're trying to get spacing for the dogs that can get it done and take it to the hole. So I think we do that some. Maybe we just didn't do it as well last night. So
I want to read the exact text from Gene, by the way.
Okay.
The exact text is better than the way I put it. Jimbo doesn't know what a confidence problem shooting is, ... It's even better.
Well, they might have to tell me not to shoot sometimes, right? Like, okay, that's enough. Okay.
That's enough.
Good days.
Anything else about last night stick out in your cranium?
Say that again, Alan, please.
Anything else about last night that stuck out?
I kind of saw Pope stuff. It's the rebounding. That's wow. It almost sounds the second chance points the third chance points. That was really frustrating. And I know the ball can bounce different ways sometimes, but not 22 times. And
right.
I just think maybe effort, maybe not blocking out, maybe not that, just a little bit more oomph to your game. So I think all these things, I'm still holding out hope, and I think they'll turn it around. And they come right back and play, as we've been talking, the schedule. They get after it right again. So
can you imagine in your wildest bad dreams a Tom Izzo team giving up 20 offensive rebounds and what practice would be like the next day?
I can imagine what our practice in my days would be like. It's no fun. I think I still have nightmares when we would get beat. And it was no fun the next week. Okay,
give me something you can laugh at now.
It's hard to laugh.
Some Joe B story about when he was ticked or whatever. The good old days. Come on, you got a million of them.
Well, I got a million of them, and some you can't tell. But I'm telling you, it's all the guys getting together. How he would get on different guys, and I mean, just horrifically. But that's what a coach does. And again, we get beat somewhere. We knew it was the next week or next 3 or 4 days in practice, just a war zone. Because he wanted toughness, so you had to, and pretty much until someone got knocked out or was bleeding. you know what I mean? You had to go at it. So maybe it would do some of our team well to get after it. So
I
good stuff.
wonder, does Hope have practices like that? Or coaches today? And I'm not being negative; it's different styles.
No,
Are coaches softer, much softer today? Much softer?
that's a good question. I've a couple times been over there. They get after it on each other pretty good. So but maybe we need to get a little bit more nasty out there. So I believe they will. Aberdeen, we didn't even talk about him, Alan. He's a really good player. I just think he's a better having a great point guard alongside him so he can do his thing and
Yes.
get to the hole. I think that's affecting him, obviously. I think he's trying to assume a role that maybe he's more comfortable as a swing guy or a two player. So I don't know.
I think it's affected him and Chandler. As Chandler is growing
Yeah.
up in front of our eyes, he would be
Amen.
so much better if he's in a corner. Lowe's coming down
Yes.
the lane and kicking it out, and then he's got space. And then if a guy's running at him, he can make a move and blow by him.
100%. So the point guard, a good one, and we have a good one. Unfortunately, he's on the bench, right? He's hurt.
I'm not holding hope that he'll be 100% this year.
I know. I'm holding out hope.
I hope I'm wrong.
Right. I know other people have said that. So I pray he gets good, see what happens. But I still think these kids can do way better than they're playing even without him. And that's where my disappointment is. I'm sure it is with Coach Pope that they haven't adapted a little bit to their roles, spacing, and who's going to be true point guard trying to set people up. I'm surprised they haven't adapted after so many games.
Me too. Hey, always appreciate your time. Always appreciate your knowledge. If you can squeeze me in next week, that'd be great. If not, down the road. Jim, you're really good at this. You know what? I mean, I know you got a face for radio like me too. But seriously, it's just your analysis it's a beautiful thing. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. Go Big Blue, and let's turn this thing around.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
All right.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Jim Master, Travis Ford. Jimmy, it doesn't get much better, does it?
The only thing that would make it better is maybe Christian Alt.
Coming up at 1:30. Look at you taking the bait. I threw you a hanging curveball, and I wasn't sure, but yeah. He's in the waiting room already? Okay. I'm going to take 1 minute to say this, and then we're going to take a break and going right to Chris. I got this, and you have to understand, these guys are friends. Plus, they do the show. And so I'm careful when something comes out that sometimes there are things sent to me privately that's just not for air. And I'm not saying that's no filter, but there are private messages. So when something gets strong, I will often say to whoever this is, are you okay if I use this? They'd say, no, I don't. And then sometimes it's okay that I use, but don't say the name. I'm just telling you how my system works. And it works well because, as I've told so many people, that my relationship and friendship means more to me than saying something I shouldn't say. I've been that way for 50 years. I'm not changing. So I get a text this morning from Jonathan Davis, who was great the other day on the show. He goes, you didn't ask, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents anyway. Jimmy, I love that, right? I love that. He says, this team needs a good sports psychologist. I'm reading their body language and looking at kids who have regressed horribly from earlier this year and last year. I believe they want to win, but don't know how to as a unit. Publicly, I'm still Team Mark, but privately, that's why I asked if he was okay with this, but privately, at least a few of the fingers have to be pointed at the coaching staff. This is what we pay them to do, get kids ready to play. Maybe the staff needs some professional help above the shoulders. That's where the problem is. And this is what I responded. Glad you shared. Right now, they're a bad team. Even if they would have won, no confidence in Caps. I really believe the money has created pressure. And then I'll just tell you what I said here. If you say I can use nothing with your name, great. If you say I can use this from a deep throat who loves UK and play for UK, great. And if that's not good, great. Then I said, these kids are not dealing with the pressure of playing for UK. No heavy hitter for $22 million. And he said, I agree. Zero confidence. He said, that could be fixed, but it might take more than the coaching staff to do it. Interesting. And I said, agree, it can't be fixed. They are hesitating. Pope has too much in their heads. And I've said this before, and I do. They're hesitating because he's trying to get them to learn so much. And when they get to the point of not hesitating, I've said this before, I think they'll become a much better team. And look at it defensively. They were much better last night, which gets overlooked because they lost. And his response was, if this were a pickup game, this is powerful, Jimmy. I want to see your facial reaction to this really quick. If this were a pickup game, Jonathan Davis said, and we lined up against Carolina and just played with no coaching staff, we'd beat them by 10 points every time. Wow. You're nodding your head. That's a wow. And then I said, interesting thought. And he goes, they have one superstar kid. Oh, my text just disappeared. Last one. Sorry about that, folks. Winning is not about talent, he says. It's about the unshakable belief that when the score clock strikes 0, your team will prevail. Right now, and I'm surprised at anyone, but we don't have that. And I said, agree. Jimmy, that's really strong stuff. Do you disagree with a word of that?
No. And I wonder how many former players feel the same way.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot. By the way, I hadn't mentioned this, but Hartline, not coming to Kentucky. It's going to South Florida, head coach. And I think he'll do a wonderful job. I think he'll do an absolute wonderful job. That's not a comment to Stein. I'm just saying, because I said I like the hire of Stein. And I don't talk about some things with Christian Alt that you can question, but I think he will overcome. Some people who are in football have thrown a couple things at me, and I'm going, okay. But here's why I think Stein will succeed. Seriously. Because this is all positive now, and I agree with it, and I think the hire is great, and I think it's going out on a limb because he hasn't been a head coach, and I think it's a wonderful hire. I do. But, we question things. We don't back down from anybody. We just don't. We're not going to change. We're not going to change. And I know somebody else who doesn't back down from anybody, and we'll talk to him right after this. It is the one, the only Chris Chenault. And I'm telling you, Chris, you should do this as a football player. You should go see Ramon. Acupuncture, Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Ramon is great. On Versailles Road, not too far from the radio station. Please use my name. It's amazing all the things he can work on to help you out. It's amazing. I wish I did it 30 years ago, and I hope I'm doing it 30 years from now. Not possible. I'm not going to be 103 and be around here. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. From Travis Ford, friend, super smart basketball dude. Jim Master, friend, super smart basketball dude. You know what? I need to challenge him. Who would win a game of horse between those two guys? It's two of the better shooters in the history of Kentucky basketball. Seriously. Why did I not ask them both? I'm going to have to do that, Jimmy. I'm going to make a mental note of that. And Christian Alt, great linebacker for Kentucky. Coming up next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal! 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ho, ho, ho.
What are you doing, Uncle Rick?
I'm looking at these twinkle lots, 250 strands of lots, 100 individual bulbs per strand, for a grand total of 25,000 twinkle lots.
Well, it looks like you're not quite ready for the holidays yet, but here at Clark's Pop and Shop, we are. We have 5-hour energy shots, buy 2, get 1 free, and Mike and Ike or Hot Tamales Theater Box Candy, 2 for $2.
Maybe I should wrap up my lots so I can get over to Clark's Pop and Shop.
Uncle Rick, the little lights aren't blinking.
I know, Carl. I know.
Happy holidays from the Clark family.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
That's Will Stein, whose press conference is this afternoon. And if he can win the press conference as good as his mother was on my show yesterday, it'll be a home run. It'll be interesting to see what kind of dog and pony show that they put on, because Kentucky has raised the bar. What they did for Pope was spectacular. And you know what? They better do something spectacular for Stein. I'm going to be really curious. And I got to tell you, if it's not as good as Pope or close to it, am I going to rip him tomorrow? Yeah, because you know what that means? Football ain't as good as basketball. And that won't make Christian Alt happy. No, not at all. You know what, Chris? You've done the show a million times, which I appreciate, and you always have your beard groomed. Do you do it every day, or are you doing it just for the show? My wife, if she saw you all the time with your beard so neatly trimmed, she'd be busting my chops. She'd go, "Why can't you be like Chris?"
I do it every day.
You're never coming back on the show. You're showing me
every
up.
day when
Really?
I get ready, wake up and I trim it, because I hate when you look to the side and you get that one piece of hair. It's attention to detail. That's from that Kentucky State Police training,
Okay.
Yeah. I don't do that. I don't do facials and nothing like that. I just got a barber, and I just do that, and black don't crack. Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
Well, I've heard it before, but really, I can't say that you can.
Yeah, that's true too. But
Well, no, if we're you and I having a bourbon, I could say that to you privately. But on radio,
yeah,
I'm no filter. But there are certain things it's just not worth it. Does that make sense?
To some people, I like to debate anything, because if you hold stuff in, how you gonna know what the other person think?
That's true. That's true.
Especially like that. Agree to disagree. If people had my personality and my thoughts on life, it would be a lot better world.
You could do a talk show. You could do a general talk show. I really believe that.
Yeah, but I'd have to have somebody on that beeper like,
It's all right. You know what? You'd get used to it.
That's true. Let's talk football.
Yeah. Okay. So I push the envelope. You can push the envelope. Okay. So let's go back in time. If I would have told you a week ago that William, as his mother calls him, or Will Stein, was going to be the head coach, and how much do you know his dad from playing at Kentucky?
I remember his dad, but after 482 tackles in the Southeastern Conference, it's phasey. I know we played together, but I don't remember any one-on-one conversations, and that bothers me. But I'm the type, once I see somebody, everything pops back in my head.
Okay.
So I will be at the press conference, and I'm waiting to see if his father remembers me.
Okay. Well, he should. You only had 9,000 tackles.
Yeah. And then if the thing, he's got a good thing. And like I think, I would love to be a person in his area to tell him, hey, you're doing all right. He's got to come in strong. I like his attitude. I really do. And they have to support him like they do everybody else.
Well, we had Rich Brooks on yesterday, and he's known the kid for quite a while, obviously with the Oregon ties, and met him at a club at the Oregon golf course where Rich was at yesterday. And after talking to me, he was going to go play golf on the course. And he basically said, this kid is really grown up. He's really smart. He's really talented. He thinks it's a really good pick. He's not worried about him being 36, because he was 36 when he got his first head coaching job. Lanning, when he got his first head coaching job, it's interesting, though, the guys were 36 years old, but he did say this. He said Kentucky better give him enough NIL money to succeed.
And that's the truth. And the way I look at it, we got a quarterback. Bring in some more offensive line and get me some 4-2s in here as wide receiver. Air raid that thing and the defense, get a good defensive coordinator. And I think we got a shot next year to be a quick turnaround. Do I expect him to come out of the gate burning? No, but if he comes in with the attitude I think he's going to have, I think we're going to be maybe not going to a bowl, might not be going to a bowl. We'll be in a bowl talk at the end of the season, and that's all I can ask for your first year.
I was hoping and guessing, but didn't know he's going to call the plays. And it's interesting that the offensive coordinator, and I bet you remember this name, Justin Burke, who was the LAX 18 High School Sports Zone Player of the Year when he played for Catholic, and then went to Louisville, and they've been together at a couple spots. So Justin will be the offensive coordinator, but not calling plays. And Justin's he's a man now, but back then, like if I talked about you being at Henry Clay back when you were a kid, back when he was a kid, he was a really smart kid and a really nice kid. And obviously there's trust, and I can't think of the guy's name, but there was a picture Keith Farmer sent me. Nick, the sports photographer, took a shot because I said, who is that? Walking with Stein, and it's the guy that was a recruiting guy at Oregon. He's with him. He's obviously hired, but they haven't announced it yet. And I'm guessing, I suspect that most of his staff was already picked out before he got here. I suspect he was putting a staff together, not knowing if he was coming to Kentucky, although he wanted to, but he would get a job somewhere. He's a smart guy. I would just suspect that most of his staff, he's already talked to people. I don't mean in 1 day, in 2 days. I would suspect he's been talking to people for a month. Hey, look, if I get a job and you like to move there, blah, 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 you want to be my linebacker coach, this, that, and another. This doesn't happen that quickly. Just like Kentucky just didn't all of a sudden call him up and hire him in 24 hours. No, there had to be backdoor channels going on for quite a while. I would almost look him in the eye and say, I don't believe it. I don't.
So do you think?
I'm crediting them for getting it done. I credit them.
Okay, I do that, but do you think Stoops told Barnhart, "Hey, let's work a deal. I'll probably be out of here"?
No.
You know?
No. Stoops was surprised this came down. I absolutely believe Stoops thought he was coming back. They were working on assistant coaches' contracts. They were doing everything that indicated that Stoops was still the coach. I think he was blindsided by this. But by the same token, too, if you're an AD, you better have an idea what you're going to do if something happens. I said this on my show the week of the Louisville game, that if they won, no problem. If they lost close, no problem. If they get blown out like Vandy, I said it on my show a number of times, they're going to fire him. I don't see him staying.
So Barnhart did his due diligence and just said, in case this happens, I'm going to be prepared.
Well, whether Barnhart did it or somebody on his staff, I will credit Barnhart because that means they're doing what Mitch wants. So in other words, if somebody under him does something that's good that helps Mitch out, I give Mitch credit as well.
I do too, because if they mess up, he's going to get the blame.
And he should get the blame. And I've criticized Mitch a lot, all deservedly so, but I give him credit for getting this done quickly. And so what I was told, Mitch, Mark Hill, and Ray Rock Oliver were very pivotal. And the fact that the university said, just go do it. You have our blessings because you do have to talk to your bosses. You know, as Capilouto, the president, said this was Mitch's decision and I support, and they went out and got it done quickly. I applaud them for that. There is no way on this earth that all of a sudden they started talking to him Saturday morning. I know this. Chip Rupp had said this, and I found out my own way as well. I don't know who. I can't tell you this, and this goes on all the time. Chris, you know this, that Stein's people, whoever they are, reached out. I believe there were some boosters involved and said, look, if something happens, we'd be interested. I absolutely unequivocally believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that's true, but that doesn't mean anything happens. And I think this stuff goes on all the time.
Yeah, and going back to your point, if anybody can't take constructive criticism, whether good or bad, I mean, if no one was complaining about Stoops' job, would he still be there? I mean, constructive criticism say, hey, wake up, light a fire in your butt. This ain't right. I know some people get blinded by it because they get content and friendships develop over a long tenure. And you gave us 10 good years, but like you said, same thing's going on in Pittsburgh with Coach Tomlin. Sometimes it's time to go.
Tomlin's taking a lot of heat, and he has for years. I actually think he's a great coach. I think the Steelers have another problem. I think they've done a bad job drafting.
Yeah, they need a quarterback.
Well, this was a one-year stopgap, and the reason why it was a stopgap, they had nobody else. And so they're either going to get one in free agency or draft a young quarterback and give him the keys of the car. I think if Tomlin is let go, I've said this for years, within 10 minutes, he's going to get a phone call and
no
multiple
doubt.
phone calls. I think he's a great man. I think he's a great person. I think he's a leader of men. And Pittsburgh's a funny town. I worked there in the 80s, and they're really critical of the Steelers. It's amazing how critical they are. It kind of, believe it or not, feels like Kentucky basketball, although people think it's the worst here. I did sports talk in Pittsburgh on the number one station, in one of the great stations in America when the Steelers weren't the Steelers. And I want to tell you what, woo-wee, there were people saying Chuck Noll needs to retire. Okay, This is Chuck Noll, for crying out loud. And by the way, they were right, but that's not the point.
Yeah, anytime you got a fan base is that energetic about their sports team, especially when they're having problems, financial, whatever be in their life, everybody gravitates to the one thing that'll make you happy: sports. I don't care who you are, it brings all races, creeds together, and we even discuss it in your work. When I hire people, who's your team? I want somebody to battle with. It's that simple. And I love the fact that everybody's getting more involved as a nation and coming out and supporting, being more vocal. But you got to have the constructive criticism and don't get upset about it because it makes you do better, or it does make me better. I love when I get criticized. Okay, I'll show you. That's my attitude. You got to have attitude because the world owes you nothing. Sorry about that. I was ranting.
No, I like that. It's a really good rant. All right, let me throw some things people have thrown at me, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's not a big deal when it can be, but I want your opinion. So you're hiring a guy who, from Kentucky, it's great, but he doesn't have recruiting ties here. He just doesn't. I mean, okay, so he was a GA in Louisville, and that's fine, but that's not recruiting ties. It's just not. Now, do I think he can get in homes quickly in Kentucky because of who he is? Absolutely. Could he recruit in Ohio as good as Heartline? No. Is that a negative? Not necessarily. Here's my point. I honestly believe in most cases, for example, what's this guy, Harston, who went from Boise State to Auburn, even though he coached for a year at Arkansas State. I thought when Auburn hired him, he was dumber than a box of rocks. Mm-hmm. He don't sound Southern. He don't talk Southern. He don't know Southern. I don't think he's gone in the homes of that many African-American athletes and understand how the culture is different in the South. By the way, Boise has a lot of African-American athletes they got from Texas. So he's got a lot of things, but I think Alabama's a little different from Texas, but that's me. And I've been told that. Point is this: it's difficult at times to take somebody out of their region and move them in. For example, the BYU coach, who apparently used Penn State to get a better contract at BYU, and they had many, and I might have missed one in negotiations, and then he got a deal from BYU. I don't think he ever wanted to move because there are a lot of people think a Polynesian going to Penn State at Happy Valley, if you don't win right away, they would be awful to his family. And I don't think he'd want to leave BYU anyway. The point is this: if this kid is going to succeed, he's 36. If William Stein is going to succeed with his offense, no disrespect to the state of Kentucky, he's going to have to recruit guys that are on 4-2 from all across the country. And I think if a guy, let's say, is in Florida, even though he doesn't have Florida ties down there, when you show these kids this offense, I don't think it's going to hurt him so much that he doesn't have ties in the South. I think his offense will say, I can overcome this because of what he's bringing to the table. So a few people have said this could be a negative, and in many cases, I would say yes. We're running out of time, so I need to shut up. In many cases, yes, but I don't think it's going to be a detriment to this young man at all.
I really think when people in the recruiting thing, they're gonna see he's from Oregon. Everybody knows their style. They fling the ball. They have so many different uniforms. If he can bring that little swag a little bit to the South, kids right now, they're like Ravens, shiny object. I want to go there. I mean, best thing about the Louisville game was the chrome helmets and stuff. I think he'll do all right recruiting because everybody wants a chance to play. And you're going to be in the Southeastern Conference. You're going to get seen. The problem is getting the right people to come in there and have the right motivation. Everybody stays on the same page. I don't think it's going to be that bad a drop-off. I think we'll be in bowl contention towards the end of the year.
I think they can be in bowl contention next year. I don't see any reason why you can't be back in a bowl game next year.
Yeah, with other options out there, correct. It's too many options. Get the lineman, get the wide receiver, get my 4-2 guy, and him and Cutler live together. Carry the ball with you.
Cutter. You keep on calling him Cutler.
Well, I'm looking at you, and you're such a handsome man. I just jumped my head, and plus the concussion add up now and then.
Hey, lying to me to kiss my you-know-what will never
Yeah,
work.
yeah, and like I tell my wife, she said, "What you in here for the whatchamacallit? What are you talking about? The whatchamacallit? If you don't know what a whatchamacallit is, I can't tell you. It's whatever I'm looking for, but I can't name it because I forgot." Oh,
I
yeah,
also
yeah.
say whatchamacallit to my wife, too, at
Yeah,
times.
give me the whatchamacallit. That's old age, ain't it?
Yeah, but you're a kid compared to me. I got 1 minute. Scale of 1 to 10. How happy are you about this move? How happy are you that Stoops was removed? Or if you're against everything, whatever Christian all thinks.
As far as the move, I thank Stoops for his years that he gave us. I think it was time to move on. I think a lot of people get content, but he's leaving with a good amount of money. So best wishes towards him. The new coach will get my support 100%. I think if everybody, you got what you wanted. So let's get behind him and see where he goes. Don't complain after the first year. Give the man a good 3 years and then see where he's at. And then if he's our guy, just lock him in.
Lifetime contract? I'm kidding.
No. About 4-year contract and keep it low based on your performance.
You know, it's a 5-year deal, and I don't know what he's making. I'm guessing $5 or $6 million, and I'm guessing without knowing. Let's say Stoops took his buyout over 5 years. I don't know this, but you could almost not put the university in peril if you pay him 5 or 6, and you were paying Stoops 9, and now you got to pay Stoops 5. It's only an extra $2 million. Easy for me to say, but you can work that in the budget versus paying somebody $38 million in 60 days.
I think all the criticism he got from that contract he gave Stoops, I think he had a very UK favorable contract. And like I said, criticism sometimes bring you up to and say, hey, I better get it right before I be gone.
I'll see you at the press conference.
Hey, be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
Bless you, brother. That was great. Hey, Jimmy, put that in, please, the open, and take out the other one because he said that without me stepping on him. I didn't ruin it this time.
Take it easy, guys.
Hey, Chris, bless you, man.
You
Chris
too,
Chenault,
God bless.
number 2 in the history of Kentucky in tackles. Really smart guy. What a show. The monologue on the team. Curious what you think. Travis Ford was great. Jim Master was great. Chris Chenault was great. Another lovely, 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 lovely day. Will Stein, press conference at 4. And I'm going to go tomorrow. Van Hiles, Nick Roush, and the law firm of the Lanters, Bo and Todd. Jimmy, as always, thank you so much. Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. Brad Taylor coming up next. Alan Cutler.